It's pretty well documented that Ohio State spent a lot of NIL money this offseason to go out and try and win a national championship. They landed big time players in the portal such as Caleb Downs, Quinshonjudkins, and Will Howard, but a lot of the NIL money went back to bring a lot of the guys that many thought would be headed to the NFL back to school for one more year. They brought back both edge rushers in Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau. Denzel Burke came back, Tyleik Williams came back, Donovan Jackson came back, Emeka Egbuka came back. But one of the players who came back, to the surprise of many, was running back TreVeyon Henderson. Henderson has been an incredibly productive running back throughout his collegiate career, and many people thought he could have been the #1 running back in last year's draft class. He decided to come back to school for another year, and in a running back class rich with talent, how high could we see Henderson taken in the 2025 NFL Draft? That is what we will be going over in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page, where for $5 a month, you guys will be given exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board with over 500 players and counting. It is some of the best work I have put together, and I think it's the best draft guide on the market. Leave a comment on this video and let me know which players you guys want in a future episode, and without further ado, let's take a closer look at TreVeyon Henderson. Henderson burst onto the scene as a true freshman and has been a big-time player for the Buckeyes offense since the moment he landed in Columbus. His 2023 season was one of the worst of his career because he was in and out of the rotation due to injury, but he still finished the year with 925 yards and 11 touchdowns on 156 carries. He came back to school and ended up taking a #2 role behind Quinshonjudkins, but has still been incredibly productive in the carries he's been given. He has 825 yards and 8 touchdowns on 119 carries and has some very intriguing upside at the next level. The first thing that I really liked about Henderson was his incredible vision and patience as a runner. He did an exceptional job of sitting behind the blockers, waiting for lanes to open up, and did a great job of hitting the holes with anticipation. He's not a straight line runner, and he showed the ability to run both inside and outside. I do think he likes to bounce it a little bit too much at times to the outside, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but I think his vision is very good. As an athlete, there's a lot to love with Henderson. His vision is great, but he is able to maximize that because of his really good quickness and initial burst out of his stance. He explodes, and when he sees some daylight, he can turn it into a big play. But it's his long speed that is the most impressive aspect of his game to me. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if Henderson was the fastest running back at the combine this year. He is clocked to have run a 4.39 40-yard dash, and those numbers are going to sell teams at the next level. His open field speed and the ability to hit that second gear are huge parts of what makes Henderson a really special back. I also think that Henderson brings some versatility in the receiving game. Ohio State has done a really good job at having Henderson catch passes out of the backfield, and he's been reliable. His hands have improved a lot since when he first came into the lineup, and he has 72 career receptions out of the backfield, and I think he can be a 3-down back because of that. There are two big concerns I have with Henderson. For one, I am a bit worried about his workload and injury concerns throughout his career. 2023 was not a good year for Henderson. He was in and out of the lineup due to injury, and this is a player who has a lot of miles on his legs. He has 564 career carries, and as mentioned, has dealt with injuries throughout his career. I also think it's pretty telling that the Buckeyes went out and they brought in another running back. They paid for Quinshonjudkins to come in, and they kind of took some of the workload off of Quinshonjudkins and gave him a less of a role in the offense this year. I just don't know if he's going to be a #1 feature back in the NFL due to the injury concerns and due to the fact that he's a bit older and he's got a lot of miles on his legs. I also worry about his pass blocking. He just doesn't bring much to the table as a blocker, and he's got very inconsistent technique. Once again, leads to my concerns that he might not be a 3-down feature back at the next level. I also worry about the consistent decisiveness. I felt like Henderson wanted to bounce it to the outside way too often, as we mentioned earlier in the video. 2024, I think, was the best year that he's had in his career because he improved in this area. I felt like throughout his career he has struggled at running between the numbers, and the yards after contact numbers would definitely go to back this up. He hasn't necessarily shown amazing contact balance throughout his career, and while it has improved in 2024, it is definitely something worth noting. TreVeyon Henderson is an incredibly explosive running back prospect with great hands on the receiving game and good vision. But unfortunately, I don't know if he will ever be a number one running back at the next level, given injury concerns and the lack of great blocking. What he does bring to the table as a runner, though, is very unique, and I think he can be a receiving back for a team as well. He is my number 5 running back prospect in the class, and my number 76 overall player. In terms of a scheme fit, I think Henderson is the ideal number 2 change of pace / receiving back in a heavy wide zone rushing scheme. He brings speed and patience to the next level, and he could be a great receiving option given the soft hands and the ability to run routes out of the backfield. But I just think because he's so quick and because he brings such unique upside in terms of an outside runner, he might be used as like a change of pace back and maybe a short or a first down kind of back at the next level. My player comparison for TreVeyon Henderson is Jacksonville Jaguars running back Travis Etienne. This was a comparison I had on Henderson coming into the year, and that kind of looks even better going into the year because Etienne kind of lost his number 1 back role this year. Neither Henderson nor Etienne are the biggest, most bruising backs in the world. They aren't amazing after contact, but they both have solid vision and are electric in the open field. Etienne has had similar struggles to stay healthy, and he's fallen to number 2 back on the depth chart. And I think they have very similar measurables and traits, so that's who Henderson kind of reminds me of. TreVeyon Henderson is terrifying in the open field. He has elite speed, patience, and vision, and I could see him developing into a really great player. I don't know what his ceiling is, but I think his floor is a very safe option for a NFL team that is looking for a contributor early on in his career. And ultimately, I believe that TreVeyon Henderson will be a 3rd round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.